The Dallas Cowboys head into the 2026 NFL Draft, hoping to land some immediate impact players to make them a legitimate Super Bowl contender. So let's do exactly that with a 5-round mock draft for the Cowboys in today's episode of Best Available. Thank you for watching today's episode. Make sure that you are subscribed on YouTube and follow us on socials at BestAvailableYT. If you're as much of a draft fan as I am and want to find another way to support the channel, consider becoming a member. I'll leave details to that in the episode description. You will get full access to my NFL Draft Big Board, which is constantly being updated with all of my grades and rankings as I continue to watch, guys. So let's go ahead and dive into this mock because we're going to get a little creative with this one. One of the nice things about this mock draft is, at least pre-free agency and post, Dallas's needs really haven't changed that much. Yes, they brought in guys like Otito Ogbonnia and Rashawn Gary, Kobe Durant, Jalen Thompson, but I'd still argue, secondary is going to be a need even with the, Thompson and Durant. I think those are fine acquisitions, but you can always potentially upgrade there. Rashawn Gary is going to be a nice rotational early down guy, but I don't see how much pass rushing juice he's going to bring unless he's completely changed just everything about his body type and athleticism over the offseason. So, they've made some decent moves, but nothing that's going to really change our strategy for this mock. But it also gives us some flexibility. And when I'm looking at 12 with what's on the board here, I'm okay with trading back because I think with the New York Jets wanting to move up 4 spots, listen, man, we're in a pretty good position here. There's a lot of guys on this list that I'd be happy to take. But instead, why don't we trade back 4 spots and then move up about 50 spots from the 3rd to the 2nd round so that we can have another premium player that can potentially contribute right away for us. I feel very confident when we're making this trade back 4 spots. Someone's still going to be there on the board that we're awfully excited about adding to this team. And boy, do we get one. At the 16th pick, we're going to take Oregon safety Dylan Thieneman. The Cowboys currently have Jalen Thompson and Malik Hooker as their projected starters, with PJ Locke out of Denver also being an addition. But I still like that Dylan Thieneman can be an instant contributor on this defense in a variety of ways. Dating back to his time at Purdue, this was clearly a different kind of athlete at the safety position. And then he shows up at the NFL Combine and posts terrific numbers in the jumps and 40-yard dash, even running a sub-4.4 40, which kind of blew everyone away. Has really solidified his draft stock as a middle of the first round guy, but it's beyond just the athleticism for this guy. It is his post-snap processing, reading his eyes, triggering downhill, taking the right angles downhill to make big hits, and then he can also either buzz down in coverage, cover over the top. This is a guy that can wear a lot of different hats for a defense, and I think that's kind of what the Cowboys are missing in the secondary. Do you want him to play, as a free safety? Do you want him to play in the box? Do you want him to play in the slot? Kind of feel like he can do all of these things. And that athleticism, versatility, instincts, and competitive toughness, this is an instant starter right away in my eyes. That's going to really bolster Dallas's defense. Man, I feel like this board could not have gone better for us because at 20, linebacker CJ Allen out of Georgia is still on the board, and we are sprinting that card up. Off-ball linebacker is still a need for this defense, and I don't think you could get a better future green dot play caller for your defense than CJ Allen. This is a guy that, while at Georgia, revealed while at the NFL Combine that the defensive coordinator kind of let Allen take control of the defense. So unless it was a very specific situation where the DC wanted to make a call, Allen was making all of the calls, all of the checks, getting everyone lined up correctly. He is truly, it's a very stereotypical phrase, but Allen really is the quarterback of a defense. And when you add that with his athleticism and technical ability, he is so technically proficient. He reads well. I know he's not the biggest guy at about 6'1", 235, but he just flies all over the field. I really like just the effort and the ability to, understand where everyone's assignments are. This is a guy that just feels such a good fit to be in the middle of this Cowboys defense. And you're talking about a Thieneman and an Allen being slotted right into a defense that's, definitely trying to turn things around post Micah Parsons trade. Those are some awfully nice starting caliber players in the first round. And not only do you get these two that are like dream first round picks, you even get to turn that 3rd from earlier into a 2nd because of our trade from 12. And with that pick moved up from 92 all the way to 44, we got a nice group of players here. Maybe I'm regretting a little bit with this trade that Jacob Rodriguez is still on the board. I know Cowboys fans in the state of Texas would have loved that fit, but since we already have the off-ball linebacker, I'm personally thrilled with R. Mason Thomas on the board. This is a guy I have a top 30 grade on at the moment. And I know it's not everyone's cup of tea that he is, a quote unquote undersized, twitchy bull rusher. But he's got such a natural ability to convert speed to power. He's twitched up out of his stance, just fires out of it, plays with length, and then he can convert that speed to power with regularity. And yeah, maybe he doesn't have a lot of in his bag right now as counter moves, but he flashes that bend at times with that explosiveness. If he can improve the hand usage, that's a really, really versatile pass rusher. But right now, he has a true calling card, which isn't something I think the Cowboys currently have on their depth chart at edge. I don't think Rashawn Gary has the bull rush he used to. At least right now, maybe it could change over this offseason, but I love the idea of R. Mason Thomas doing that stuff. And if he has to play early downs, I know he's a smaller type of edge, but I think pound for pound, he's one of the stronger guys in this class and gives great effort holding against blocks against the run. And I think it's one of his underrated traits when talking about him as a prospect. It's personally why I'm higher on him than a lot of other draft analysts. I just think he plays way tougher than his size indicates. And yeah, some people are concerned about the lack of a quote unquote bag as a pass rusher, but you can always work on that stuff. And when he has a true calling card, that speed to power bull rush, I just think that's something that's going to help him win right away as he continues to work on everything else. This is a starting caliber edge. I think this is a guy that competes right away with Rashawn Gary for meaningful reps. The 112th pick in the fourth round, I'm honestly stunned that Malik Muhammad out of Texas is still here. People are going to knock him that he's a little bit smaller, but you're kind of saying the same thing about Avion Terrell if you're a draft analyst, right? And he's someone that's kind of consensus still a borderline first round pick. Kind of surprised Malik Muhammad doesn't get the same kind of attention. Comes in at 6 foot and only 182 pounds, but he has some solid length with 32 and 3/8 inch arms, tested really well at the combine. And what I love, his movement skills are just flat out excellent. He's got really good hip fluidity to turn and carry and react to the route stem for wide receivers and get those hips flipped. His feet are quick to mirror. He can really be really sticky in man coverage. And while he's a little lighter, he has natural length that allows him to attack that catch point without going through the wide receiver and drawing a pass interference penalty. He just has really this natural kind of coverage corner. And I know right now with Deron Bland and Kobe Durant that this is a team that's really going to try and be a feast or famine with turnovers at corner. I love the idea of having another guy in Malik Muhammad that can be one of these, CB3, CB4s that can come onto the field for spells and really hold his own in man coverage. I am a little worried against the run because of that size. But what I appreciate is how competitive he is still, despite that lighter frame. I'm much higher on Muhammad than a fourth round pick, but I understand because of that frame that he's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. But for me personally, if he's there in the fourth round for the Cowboys, they haven't taken a corner already. This feels like a dream fit. Let's get some tackle depth on the board, shall we? Fifth round, 150th pick. Give me J.C. Davis out of Illinois. The Cowboys have some really solid, very promising offensive linemen on this roster, but I am worried when one of them goes down, and we've seen it in the past. Offensive lines across the league can crumble with one or two injuries, and having some kind of guy that can play, be a swing tackle or slot in inside at guard is a really nice value add to know that you at least have some insurance as a backup and a guy that could potentially develop into a potential starter. I really feel like J.C. Davis is one of those guys. While he's not a true mountain like some of these tackle prospects in this draft, he is 6'4" and 3/8 inches, 322 pounds, 34 and a quarter inch arms. So he's got enough length to be, a left tackle. But he's shown some ability because maybe his feet aren't the best that he can kick inside. He repped some of that at the Senior Bowl and held his own doing some one-on-one reps as a guard. But what I really like about him, he is a fluid mover. He can change direction easily, and he's got these big old mitts that when he latches on to you, it is really hard to let go. Now, the strike placement needs to improve. It needs to be more consistently inside, especially in pass protection. But like I said, man, when he gets hands on you, it's really hard to disengage once he latches on. Kind of reminds me, at least in that regard, of Charles Cross coming out of Mississippi State. Now, Cross might be a bit of a different story. He was a 5-star recruit to Mississippi State, was the 9th overall pick, and he had a lot else going for him. But when I think of that grip strength, he's a guy I always think about right away. And Davis has some of that in him. Now, I'm worried about his lower body play strength. I think he needs to get stronger to be able to drive more bodies in the run game. But he moves really well at 322 pounds. I think he is one of these guys that can be a developmental project that can be slotted into multiple starting roles in case of injury. And the Cowboys just need some insurance. Like, you've invested so much in this offense, whether it's Tech, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, you've brought back Javonte Williams. Like, you're loaded at skill players. It's time to make sure that you have that insurance in case something happens on the offensive line. We just mentioned Javonte Williams, but I really want some kind of change of pace back behind him. He is the power back. Let's get a burner third down type that can be effective in the pass game. And with our final pick in this 5-round mock draft, I'm taking Demond Claiborne out of Wake Forest, that I think hits the nail on the head of what we need as that backup to Javonte, and fills that role I was always dreaming Deuce Vaughn would when they took him out of Kansas State. I could not quit that guy for the Wildcats, one of my all-time favorite players, and I knew deep down simply too small to play in the NFL. But Claiborne is a much, much bigger version of an explosive third down back that I think makes a lot of sense. I mean, you just turn on the tape for Claiborne, and that burst and top-end play speed immediately stand out. If he can break a tackle or find a seam, it's good. It's GG's for the defense, man. Like, he can just take off. He's got some better contact balance than you'd expect from a 188-pound running back. And he also brings some real wiggle and, comfortability tracking deep balls with those wheel routes. Being one-on-one mismatch in the passing game. Like, you can put him in a variety of different roles on this offense as a change of pace back along with that third down ability. Now, I've got some questions about the pass pro, and the real big question I have is with his ball security. He had 7 fumbles this past season, something he really needs to work on. That plus improving his vision are some reasons why I don't expect him to be drafted as early as some of these other running backs. But man, like, if you can work on those two things and just continue to coach him up, it's like the perfect RB2 when you have a power back like Javonte. Is one of these guys that when he sees the right hole can be a true home run hitter. And it's a really exciting prospect of him behind Williams in this backfield. And there you have it. That is our 5-round mock draft for today's episode. Cowboys fans, I know you guys always have a lot of takes, and this is a big draft for you guys, so I imagine the pressure is on. Give me your honest feedback. What picks did you like? What picks did you hate? What picks do you think you could improve on? I'm trying to provide some more context as who was on the board at the time of picking. But just always remember, this is an exercise. It's not a fact. I do not control the draft. And I always understand the comments can be a little heated. I get it. It's your favorite team. You want them to draft well. And I hope I was able to do that for you guys in this exercise. So we'll continue doing these throughout the draft season. So if you enjoy these and want to check out for other teams or just draft content in general, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Thank you for all the support over this past year. We are really ramping up ahead of draft season. It's getting really exciting. So hit that subscribe button if you're not already. We will be back with Draft Talk, talking about defensive linemen tomorrow or Tuesday, depending on when you're watching this. I'll be talking with Justice Mosqueda, talking about all of our favorite interior defensive tackles. That'll do it today. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of Best Available.